Hello, and welcome to today's Medical Center Library Research Workshop series. We're talking about advanced CINAHL today. My name is Stephanie Henderson, and I am one of the Medical Center librarians. And we want to thank you for joining us, and we will be recording this session, so just so that you're aware. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera now because I get distracted. All right. So our agenda for today is that we're going to go do an overview of the CINAHL interface. We're going to talk about CINAHL subject headings. We're going to look at CINAHL search history and alerts, and we're going to look at the My Account in CINAHL, which is also the same as the My Account in all of the EBSCO databases. So we'll pause along the way to answer any questions that you might have. Please use the chat box to type in your questions, and if there's any links that we need to put in the chat box, we'll put those in there for you. So upcoming workshops, I just want to kind of put a plug in for the MCL workshop series. We do have a few upcoming workshops left. There's a Publishing and Sharing in Health Sciences on November the 10th. There's Finding Public Health Statistics on November the 17th. We do have some EndNote drop-in sessions in November and in December. And then we have the new PubMed for Systematic Reviews on December the 4th. You can look at any of our previous sessions, any of the previous recordings. The links are posted on our Research Workshop Series guide. And also you can register for the upcoming workshop series, the upcoming workshops at this guide as well. So I think Kayla is helping me today, and so she'll drop that link into the chat box. Okay, so CINAHL. This is just kind of a refresher for those of you that don't know. So CINAHL is the Cumulative Index for Nursing and Allied Health Literature. I know that this is this slide is full of text, but I will be providing the slides for you, and I want you to have this information. So it indexes and provides the full text for 520 journals for English language and select foreign language nursing journals, publications from the American Nurses Association and the National League for Nursing. And it also, journals from 17 allied health disciplines are also included. So it also covers biomedicine management, behavioral sciences, health sciences librarianship, education, consumer health, chiropractic, and health services administration literature. You'll also find in CINAHL, it's not just articles, journal articles. You'll also find books and book chapters, dissertations, educational software, conference proceedings, nursing practice acts, critical paths, and research instruments. And again, also several full text is provided for several state nursing journals, some newsletters, government publications, and patient education material. So it's a pretty comprehensive database. We do say that this is the go-to database for nursing literature. I usually start with this one, and then I also would search PubMed, depending on what my topic is. That just kind of gives you an idea of what CINAHL covers and then how to get to CINAHL. So if you start at the library's homepage and you scroll down to the under library links, there's the selected databases, and CINAHL is right there listed in alphabetical order. So there's a couple of other ways that you can get to it. You can select this intro tab, and then there's an icon for CINAHL, or you can go to the guide, the nursing research guide, and select CINAHL from there. There's lots of ways to get to it, but this is, I think, the most efficient. This is the most efficient way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop my PowerPoint and do a demonstration in CINAHL. I'm just going to do a live demonstration. Let me go ahead and okay. I'm going to go to CINAHL, and if you're off campus, you will probably be prompted to enter your link blue username and password, just like the authentication process for all of our databases. Looks like I've already logged in, so we are going, I'm right there in the database. And a couple of things about the interface, you can see here, you have this three search boxes by default. You have your CINAHL subject headings here at the top. We're going to talk about those a little bit. There's publications. If you want to search to see if there's a particular journal index in CINAHL, you can do that from here. You can start a new search from here. And then we have these search options. And all of these you can access from the search results page. And I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But I just kind of want to point out some of these features for you. So this is full text, limit your results to full text. I wish I had an X. Can I just put a big X here? There we go. Don't ever use this. We don't want to use this full text because that will limit all of the articles that we subscribe to. This is only going to get the full text within the database. It won't give you the View Now at UK option. So never ever use this limiter. Some popular limiters that a lot of students use and faculty use is the English language literature. I'm sorry, the English language limiter. Research article will only get you research articles, so things that are primary research articles. Systematic reviews will also be included there. For the research article. This evidence-based practice limiter, this is also a good one to use. It will search for evidence-based practice journals. It will also search for articles about evidence-based practice, and then it'll also search for the literature that includes evidence-based practice literature. So this is a kind of a newer field, so we want to be cautious when you use that. Sometimes you can, if you put too many filters on, you can kind of limit yourself out of any results. But if you're looking at evidence-based practice literature, this would be a good one to search. Sometimes people use human. I typically don't, but that is an option. And under publication type, you can limit by a publication type if there's something that you're looking for. So for example, a care plan, you can limit to care plans. If you're looking for a case study or a clinical trial, you can do a limit for publication type. So these are really good when you know specifically what you're looking for, what type of publication you're looking for. I wouldn't necessarily use these for just if I'm searching for a broad topic and I want to find what's out there on the literature. I typically do limit to publication type when I know specifically what I'm looking for. So if I want practice guidelines and that's all I want and I know that, I will limit to publication type. There's also some special interests, so chiropractic care, evidence-based practice, nursing administration, you can limit to those as well. Again, languages, you can limit to different languages. And over here on the right, you can limit by date range. So you could do January 2015. This is a typical, last 5 years is typical for limiting. You can limit to peer reviewed. However, if you do this option, peer reviewed journals is what it's going to limit to. Even though you apply this limiter, that doesn't mean that you're only going to get peer-reviewed articles, because there are some articles in peer-reviewed journals that are not peer-reviewed. So for example, an editorial, those are not peer-reviewed. Maybe a letter, that's not going to be peer-reviewed, but it could be in a peer-reviewed journal. So I just want to kind of caution you when you're using this one, just because so that you understand and know what you're getting. You can exclude pre-CINAHL articles. You can do that. Pre-CINAHL means that they haven't been indexed yet. You can only search pre-CINAHL, so that I typically would not use those. You can exclude Medline records. So Medline records are the records within PubMed, and PubMed includes Medline in addition to some other articles. So you can exclude that one. That's not typically something that I use. Clinical queries is the same type of, it's very similar to the PubMed clinical queries. If you're looking for a therapy with high sensitivity, or if you're looking for prognosis, you can limit using this. Another one that we get sometimes is first author is a nurse. If you're trying to find an article that the nurse is listed as an author, or any author is a nurse, this one is over here on the left, you can limit to that. You can also limit by randomized controlled trials. You can also limit by geographic subset, sex, and then age groups. And again, this PDF full text, I would not use this one ever, because that would limit to only the articles that are PDF within the CINAHL database and not include any of the articles that we have subscribed to individually. So that's just kind of an overview of the limiters within CINAHL. And again, once we do a search, I will show you how to get back to these limiters and how to apply them. Typically, whenever I'm doing searches, I don't apply any limiters up front. I want to see what numbers I'm getting without any limiters applied. And then if I'm getting too many results, then I will actually go back and apply limiters after the fact. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of limiters. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about CINAHL subject headings. So if I type in heart attack, so a subject heading is, the CINAHL subject headings are equivalent to MESH subject headings in PubMed, if you're familiar with MESH headings. They're specific to the database. So the indexers, if there's an article on heart attack that's having to deal with the topic of heart attack, if you just click this suggest subject term, and then you search, it's automatically going to take you into the CINAHL subject headings. And it tells me for heart attack, we're going to use the term myocardial infarction. Again, this accounts for anomalies and the way we say things and the way terms are used. So heart attack is used for myocardial infarction, or it's just a way to account for the variations in the terminology that we use. So if I click myocardial infarction, you can see so I can go ahead and check this box, and then I can get some different subheadings. And then similar to PubMed's MESH database, you can see here that myocardial infarction, underneath it is cardiogenic shock, which is indented. So whenever anything is indented, that means that you can check this explode box for it to search myocardial infarction plus and cardiogenic shock. So the kind of a little bit of a difference between MESH and the CINAHL subject headings. And MESH, the trees are automatically exploded. So it would automatically search both of these terms together. And then CINAHL, I have to tell it to. So we want to make sure that you understand the difference. And if you're looking for also articles related to cardiogenic shock, we need to make sure that we explode that. So then if I wanted to search more terms, I could go back to my term list. And I want to kind of show you, when I search for heart attack, it also would let me search for heart attack as a keyword. So if I select this box, it's automatically going to add it to my search. And it will automatically add it with an OR. So I want to do this because it takes time for indexers to index articles and add subject terms to them. So in order to get the articles that have not been indexed yet, I want to search for heart attack as well. So we have heart attack and myocardial infarction as a subject term, and then we're ORing them together because I want either one of them, and I'm going to search the database. So what I'm going to do so I'm like, why did I only get 15 results? This seems weird. So evidently, whenever I was looking at the filters, I I accidentally added some of them to my search. So I'm going to actually take these off. You just hit this X's button, the X, and I'm going to remove these. I thought, 15, that does not look right. Okay, so now we have 57,000 results. And again, to make this a really comprehensive search, I want to go ahead and OR, so we can OR, use this drop-down box to OR. I want to OR myocardial infarction. Again, the reason that I want to do this is because not all the terms have been indexed yet. So I want to make sure that any article that has heart attack, I want to get those articles, and then I want to get any article that describes a heart attack as myocardial infarction. I want to get those as well. So I'm going to do a search. So I have 57,000, and now I have 76,000. So it's definitely bumped it up a lot. So at this point, what else do I want to search? So I'm looking at heart attack. So maybe I want to search for another topic. So if I clear this, so maybe I want to look at prevention. And so if I suggest subject terms, so I can see here that suicide prevention, shock prevention, pressure ulcer prevention, fall prevention. These aren't really what I'm looking for. So I could just search for prevention as a keyword, or I could browse additional terms. So I'm thinking about prevention in terms of exercise. Maybe exercise is a prevention for a heart attack. So let's try exercise. And it tells me that it previously retained my search for prevention. So that term is already going to be saved for me. Okay, so I have prevention over here. So exercise, within exercise, there's all of these additional terms that we can use. So I want to search for exercise as a keyword. I want to add that one to my search. Then I want to take a look at exercise and see what falls below it in the tree. So again, if we do exercise, it's going to include all of these other exercises, and that's fine with me because I'm just trying to get any kind of exercise that would prevent a heart attack. And I want to explode it. And then there's also a scope note. So scope notes are really good for determining how the database defines my term that I'm using. So it might not necessarily be how you define it in practice, in nursing practice, but it's how the database defines it. So it tells me that it's physical activity, which is usually regular and done with the intention of improving or maintaining physical fitness or health. It tells me do not use physiology, the subheading physiology, prefer pre-coordinated heading exercise physiology. And it also tells me to consider using physical activity and physical fitness, and exercise equipment and supplies is available. So maybe I want to do physical activity and physical fitness as well. So I have my exercise, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to search for this quick browse additional terms. So I'm going to search for physical activity. and I'm going to take a look at it. So I could actually click on the link for physical activity. It's right here, physical activity. There's my scope note. It's a general term used, voluntary movement, skeletal muscle, resulting in increased energy expenditure. Okay, so that sounds good. I'm going to use that one too. So now I have exercise, exploded, prevention, physical activity, and then exercise. And I'm going to OR all of these terms together. And then I'm going to search the database. Okay, so I have over 800,000 results. So how do I get my heart attack string? So this is just showing my exercise string. So if I just clear this search and I go to the search history, there's this little tiny caret under here. That if you open that up, this will give me my search history. So then I can combine my search terms, so my search string, so my myocardial infarction or my heart attack string with my exercise and prevention string. And so if I want to look at the literature, that little slice of literature that talks about heart attack and exercise prevention, so I would combine that with and. So now I'm getting over 14,000 results. That's still a lot of results. So I'm thinking, that's still a ton. So let me do a little bit of limiter or filters applying, and then I'll see what I get. So I'm looking for literature that is the past 5 years. So I'm going to do 2015 to 2020. Okay, and then I also, if I click on this show more, does this look familiar, this page? So I'm getting back to that page that we saw in the very beginning of the tutorial. So I'm looking for English language articles. I'm looking for evidence-based practice. I want to search for that. And then I'm looking for all adults. I'm not looking for adults. And then I'm also looking for middle-aged. And then I'm going to click search. So that limited my results down to 226. So 226 is not bad. I can definitely review those results. If I think that 226 is still too much, I can add a more specific term. So if I clear this, I could add something like, if I'm looking at a particular type of exercise, so I'm going to look at walking. So walk or walking. And then I want this in my abstract. So I want to see if this is in the abstract. So this select a field. There's lots of different field codes you can apply. You could look for publication type, journal name, title, and abstract are typically the two that I choose. MH is the exact subject heading. So if you know the subject heading, myocardial infarction, you could apply your field code here. But I want to look for anything with what I've already searched and walk or walking in the abstract. So I'm going to go click search here. And then clear this. And then I need to combine my searches. So I'm going to clear that. So then I'm going to combine this with and. So now I have 4 results. So again, you can. 226 was definitely, I wouldn't think that that was too many. 6 is probably, that's very few. However, it's very specific, so it might just be what I'm looking for. Let's take a look at the results now. So let's take a look at these 4. One thing that I always do when I'm looking through my results is I go to this page option and I always select detailed. and it's defaulted to 50, so that's what I want. So the detailed page view will let you see the abstract. So I want to see the abstract within my results without having to click on the title. So here's my abstract. I can look and see the my search terms are in bold. They're bolded. And I can also see here, just looking at this, this is a journal article that's a research, it's a randomized controlled trial. So I can see this information. This is a dissertation, so that's not what I'm looking for. I don't want a dissertation. I can see this one is an analysis, a systematic review. So this is a review article. It's a systematic review. However, I could look at that and see which articles are included, which primary studies were included in this systematic review to get additional primary studies if that's my intention. This one is, again, the journal article, a randomized controlled trial. So I can see all of this information from right here. So there's a couple of different things that I can do with this information. I can add it to a folder. So if I add it to a folder, if I go up here, here's my folder. So then I can select them all and I can email them. I can save them as a file. I can export them. If I export them, I have options for exporting directly to EndNote. Go back here. You can also sign into my EBSCO account and save this search. So if I wanted to save all my search history, let me go back. So if I want to save the search, I can click Save Search. And so then I would need to sign into my EBSCO account. If you don't have an EBSCO account, you can create one. It's pretty simple. I highly recommend, if you're doing a lot of searching, if you're a nursing major, you should definitely sign up for a MyEBSCO or a CINAHL account, which is a MyEBSCO account. It's the same with all the databases that are EBSCO databases. It's the same account. So then what happens is if I save this search, I can actually save the search as a permanent save search or a temporary search, or I can save it as an alert. So the alert will allow me to get an email, depending on how frequent I want the email, of if any new articles are published and put inside of CINAHL that have my search terms, I will be alerted that there's a new search. So this is really, and particularly really good for systematic reviews. It's also really good if you're just interested in a topic and you want to be the first to know whenever new articles are published about that topic. Then you can save a search alert. You can create a search, save a search alert, and you'll be notified automatically. You don't have to rerun the searches every time. This is something that you can do in CINAHL. You can do it in PubMed. You do it in a lot of places. So you can decide, do I want it once a day, once a month? Sorry about that. I'm gonna, do you want it articles published within the last month, 6 months, 2 years, depending on what you're looking for? Do I want the email alerts and notices? How often do you want them? Here's the subject for them. All of this information, and I can see that I want, this was created with CINAHL full text, but again, if you, it's available for all EBSCO databases. And so heart attack. I'm just gonna save this. I am gonna save it as a permanent search. I don't want an alert. And so then I save it. So if I continue, so you can see I have several articles saved, and I have several search alerts saved. You can also share if you want to share your search with someone else. So I can click on share and I can share this collection with someone else. It's restricted to UK collaborators, but you could definitely share those results with someone. All right, let me go back. Do I have an A/B questions? Does anyone have any questions of our CINAHL subject headings before I move on to adjacency searching? Any questions about saving your history or creating search alerts? Okay. Well, if you do have questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat and I'd be happy to answer them. I also just wanted to point out that CINAHL also does what we call proximity searching. So you do not have this ability to proximity search within PubMed. However, you can within CINAHL, and it's really good if you're not sure if what you're searching for is an exact phrase. So for example, if I do diabetes, and I put W3 education or teach. So what that does is it's searching for diabetes within 3 words of, three words of education or teach, teaches, teaching. That's what the little asterisk is doing. So diabetes within 3 words of education or teach. So let me search that. And so you can see here, so this one has diabetes education. So, okay, that's a phrase, that's a known phrase. And it's talking about diabetes and then program teaching. So that would be picked up. Okay, so that makes sense. If I scroll down some more, peer education. Let me scroll down more. So this one says diabetes care and education. Okay, so this one is something that I'd be interested in, but it had diabetes care. So it didn't have diabetes education as a phrase. So that's kind of, how this proximity searching can be useful. And then this diabetes self-management education. So there's diabetes care, diabetes self-management, probably diabetes prevention. All of those could be terms that are included before the word education. So this proximity searching would pull those up. So then I can also search for additional terms. So diabetes type 2 and exercise and prevention. So if I search this, I'm getting a narrower results. So 101 went from 8,000 to 101. And again, it's still doing the diabetes education with the proximity searching. So this, in this example, it's diabetes specific exercise education. So the reason that one comes up is because I have diabetes within 3 words of education. So even though exercise comes in there, it doesn't matter. I have the diabetes within 3. So this is something that can be quite useful, again, when you don't know exactly if it's a phrase, a known phrase, or if you're just trying to search for some words together, but you're not necessarily sure if they all are put in like together. I hope that makes sense. The other thing that you can do is you can search for it with near. So you can do diabetes near the words education or teach. So this would get a different set of results. So N5 would be the near. So I got 101 with the previous search, and now I'm getting 107. So it really does matter what terms you use. It really matters which subject headings you use. If you are unsure about search terms to use, you can always contact one of the librarians and we'd be happy to help you. One thing that you don't want to do, let me clear this. So you don't want to search for something like heart attack or myocardial infarction and let's say diet or exercise and prevention. We don't want to do that. When you're using all of these combinations of the Boolean operators like ors and ands together in separate lines and separate concepts, the database can get confused very easily, and you can type something very easily. So what I suggest is that you use the search history function, your search history, to only search for one concept at a time, and to use the anding here within the search history to combine concepts. So I don't like this. I think that this can cause a lot of mistakes, especially if you're a novice searcher or even an experienced searcher. It's really, it's difficult to make sure that you're doing it the right way. So in order to prevent that, I typically always search for all of my concepts together as one, or a big or string, and then I use my search history to and them together. So does anybody have any questions? So I think that we have, we've covered everything that I wanted to cover. I know this isn't really an advanced search topic, but I want to throw this out there. If you're looking at results in CINAHL, you will see a PDF full text. You will also see HTML full text, or you'll see this View Now at UK full text. So if we click on the View Now at UK, just going to kind of show you how you can get the full text article. For this one, it's available at Highwire Free Press. If it said no full text available, you would click on the Medical Campus Request for Interlibrary Loan, and you can request that for free. But in this case, it's available at Highwire Free Press. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through this process of getting it. So this is the article that I'm looking for. I just click on this PDF. And that was pretty seamless, and it was beautiful, and it popped right up for me. However, sometimes it's not always that pretty or that straightforward. So you want to make sure that if you ever have access problems with CINAHL, just go ahead and contact us at the Med Center, and we'd be happy to help you get the article that you're looking for. Something else that this database has is that it has the cited reference and time cited in this database. So for example, this time cited in CINAHL, this article was cited one time in the database. And then go back. And then cited references. So the references for this article, they were cited 4 times. So we have, and if you click on the cited references, these are the cited references that were cited 4 times, and they're in this database. So that's, again, another way to get additional articles that could be similar to your article. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and see if you guys have any questions. If you don't have any questions, we can, if you do, just pop them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask it. Again, CINAHL is a pretty critical database to use when you're a nursing student. It's also really good to use when you're medical students We use CINAHL a lot sometimes in pharmacy and also in public health. It's really good for if you're doing systematic reviews and you're trying to do a comprehensive search. So CINAHL is typically one that we would include in our searches. If you do have questions, please feel free to contact the Medical Center Library, and we would be happy to assist you with any of your searching needs. Thank you, and we hope to see you at the next research workshop series.